Hello, this video is going to be about YMAX, stock ticker YMAX, and where the stock could move to in the future. So on this weekly chart, we have drawn a box around these three gigantic red candles in July, and we move that box to today. Now essentially it would look like this. Alright, so we're on the third week, the third red candle, and that would put the price of YMAX to around $14.41. Any lower will be this green candle that recovered. It had a massive recovery. But that would put the price of YMAX to $12.51. So in 2 weeks, the price could go to $12.51. Now, according to this lovely script I've got going here, nothing looks good on the daily. If we go to the daily chart, you look at these big stocks. We have just a bunch of downward pressure. There's no cross up, just downward pressure. Still not even close to a cross up. Tesla is close to a cross up. MSTR had a cross up, so MSTR might actually, this 90k push might be a false breakout for MSTR, because today's candle created this cross up, but MSTR wasn't open on the weekend, right? So it just crashed down because Bitcoin crashed down anyway. So it's kind of hard to read a daily chart like that when it comes to Bitcoin. Apple crossed down, negative RSI. Coin looks like it's ready for a bounce almost. Like I said, Bitcoin went wild over the weekend. Amazon's not ready for a cross. Google is not ready for a cross. Now Google, if we switch to the 4-hour chart, we can see that Google is so low right now. I drew a line. This is the lowest this money index has ever been, pretty much. And whenever that happened in the past, Google's bought up. So if I just zoom out here, so yeah, bought up, but up. Now Google might be the first one to catch a break, according to this indicator, but it did still have a cross down, so that's technically not an entry, but the RSI is still positive. So I'm thinking sideways in the next day while the rest of the stocks grind down a bit, and then Google might catch a bit. Now, what's NVIDIA? Yeah, NVIDIA had a cross down on today, so it's technically, and they have negative RSI. So everything for the next day or two is somewhat negative in nature. The only somewhat positive one that I've been checking is Google. If you are a fan of GME has had a cross down with the RSI and the blue line today, so GME should technically go down. You want to enter to go long when it crosses up. You want to enter to go short when it crosses down. Today we had a cross down, so GME is potentially could drop to 23.50 for all I care. 23.50, where is it on the chart? Or some previous highs? 23.73, 23.50. So these are, it lines up for a 23.50 retest, 23-ish and some change. 23 on the whole number too for some of these tops. Intel it's got to hold 22. I don't think there's a Yieldmax Intel, but Intel I've been tracking for a while. Intel's got to hold 22. It hasn't came back down and tested it, but you can see on the daily chart. Sorry, needs more water. It got severely rejected by the 200 EMA on the daily chart. And what we're waiting for is a retest of 22. Now, Intel, I'm bringing up because I bought Intel right before earnings at 1985-ish. And I held through earnings. And I sold when I was 10% up. And then what does Intel do? Have the best week in 20 years? That's just my luck, man. But I took profit when I saw profit. Then that's what you do. That's what you... And it wasn't even a lot of profit. All right? I'm talking 10% on 5 shares. Okay. You do the math. So let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, it just broke past down below our 84K level. Now, the 84K level, what is the 84K level? Well, we have this bull flag in February 2024 that extended to September 2024 and had a price target of 84K. It shot way past the price target, and pretty much this week and last week we've been crushing through 84K. If we use the weekly script, everything is looking for a bounce. It's looking for a bounce. There's no guarantee of a bounce, but whenever the RSI leaves the Bollinger Band, there's usually a bounce. Now, I think the RSI was outside of the Bollinger Band last week when I was looking at this chart, and we got a gigantic bounce, didn't we? We went from 80K to 92K, and now we're back down to 84K. So it's primed for another bounce, but perhaps maybe give it a day or two. We'll look at the daily chart. The daily chart is wanting to be bought up, but the RSI is negative, the money flow is negative, and we could have another cross down. Potential cross down within the next day, which would send Bitcoin lower, which is in line with the rest of the stock market being bearish. Tesla, I remember talking just the other day about on the weekly chart, if it gapped up above this 295.50 EMA, it's potentially bullish, but even though all the signs are negative, right? So what does it do? It gaps up and then it doesn't hold 295. It had to break above the 30-minute 302. Was it 30-minute? I don't know. 1 hour, 4 hours. I don't know. 302 was a big level today for Tesla to break out. It did not do it. So it failed right through 295. And then, of course, at around 2 o'clock, 2:30, I think 2:03, the stocks all took a poop with the announcement of a 10% added tariff into China. Could you have profited on this move? Yes, of course you have. You could have profited both. Okay, so today was another VWAP day for the SPY. This white line represents VWAP. So if we look at it was starting at VWAP, it failed it, tested it, failed it, broke through, failed it, tested it again, failed it. So already the trend is there. Use VWAP. So failed it. And then here's the 7th try, 6th or 7th try, and every other time failed it. So what do you think will happen again? Another failure, right? Unless you're the contrarian to go to the upside. But this was another cross down. And then if you entered during the cross down, off this VWAP failure, and you held on to it until one of these little cross ups, that was a decent amount of profit. Now, if you manage to have some runners and held them the rest of the day, you really profited. Really profited on. And could you have caught in the biggest move? Yeah. Right here, there's a cross down. So if you simply just wait for a cross, up or down, you could profit on these moves. There's no guarantee that there's going to be news day after day to push this market one way or the other. All right. We go to the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart, like I said, we had another cross down today, and the RSI is neutral. So we could have just a sideways slow grind down for the next day or two until all of these stocks start to get another cross up on the daily chart to send this higher. Now, one last stock that I never talked about before is AT&T and its parabolic move to the upside. Now, AT&T is at a position, a blow off top position. It's at these high money flow index levels. It's going to experience a cross down in the future. You know it is. It's not going to go straight up forever. So it's at a blow off top reversal, and it's going to happen fast and quick. You're not going to be able to predict it. It could go higher from here for another $1, and next thing you know, it's going to go the other way. So be careful if you're jumping into AT&T. It is getting primed to do a reversal, blow off top reversal. So in conclusion, I guess you could say, I don't believe that the market will super duper duper crash. I think tomorrow and the next day, we're just gonna see a slow grind down and or sideways for the next day to get one of these cross ups to happen for money to start entering into some of these stocks. So be vigilant. Be careful. I wouldn't just start throwing money into stocks today, that's for sure, or the next day. But that's just me. But I could miss everything if I don't ever invest. I could miss it all. But I'm gonna wait, because I think we're still in the woods, in the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games, you know.